Dallas won the toss, and they will receive, as they did on both counts last week against San Francisco. They ended up fumbling on the third play from scrimmage, and that was a harbinger of things to come. Dwayne Harris is waiting for the kick. Glad you're with us today on Fox. You and I could return that one, Aikman, out of the back of the end zone, and so starting at the 20. Tony Romo, the rust. There was rust apparent after limited work in the preseason for Tony, coming off the back surgery at the end of December.
Tough week for Tony Romo, obviously, after that week 1 performance. I think the big thing last week, Joe, was that he just did not see the field very well, and typically that's one of his real strengths.
Home opener for the Titans, and it sounds like it. Nice start. Murray out near the 30. Michael Griffin, who is the free safety, there for the tackle after a gain of 9. And the impact players, you saw Murray carry it. You highlight 2 of the 3 good young offensive linemen in the middle, and Dez Bryant always gets the attention on the outside.
I think that was one of the real positives taken away from last week's loss, was that they were able to run the football very effectively against one of the better defensive fronts in football.
Now on 2nd and 1, it's Murray again, left side. Where will they spot it? Maybe inches short, back to the line of scrimmage. Sean Phillips is out there, and it will be a first down for Dallas by inches. The defensive players to watch as you look at some of the names, but the transition, Troy, from a 4-3 to a 3-4 under Ray Horton.
Made that transition fairly smoothly. I mean, it's early, but last week, very impressive in that win against Kansas City.
Romo protected. He's got Dez Bryant, makes a little move and gets tackled from behind. A gain of 6. And it was Sean Phillips, who last year was with the AFC champion Denver Broncos, back downfield to make the stop.
Well, you think back to last week, Joe, and the job that this offensive line did against San Francisco, running the football. DeMarco Murray averaging over 5 yards a carry in that ball game. They want to continue to try to maintain some balance. They ran the ball in the first 2 plays of this game, picking up the first down there with DeMarco Murray.
Romo pulls the trigger. He's got Bryant, and a juggling catch inside Tennessee territory. First down after a gain of 17, and it's McCourty on the coverage.
And this is going to be a key throughout this season, giving Tony Romo time to throw the football within the pocket, keep him upright. We all know about him coming off the back injury, but this is a well-thrown ball by Romo. Good job by Dez Bryant laying out and being able to haul this one in, but he has to lay this throw over the safety, Bernard Pollard, and he does beautifully.
Bryant comes out after the 17-yard catch. And it's a first down at the 46. Here's Murray. Well played up front. Tennessee swallows him up. First guy there was Klug. Dez Bryant getting checked out on the sideline as they look at the right collarbone shoulder area after the catch.
You see Ronald Leary, the left guard, but Klug beats him right off the line of scrimmage. That's an outstanding job getting pressure in the backfield and stuffing this run. Dez Bryant, as you see him come down on that right shoulder, that's what they're checking out over on the sideline.
Loss of 5 on that carry by Murray. Romo steps up, staggers, and throws one short. 3rd and long coming up. Terrence Williams, the intended target.
A lot of discussion last week about Romo's decision making. One of the things that I took from that game, Joe, he's not moving, or at least he did not last week, move the way that I'm accustomed to seeing him move. Even on this play right here, you know, how much that's affected by the back, I don't know, but he was not as mobile and as elusive last week, and it looked to be the same type of thing on that last play.
Devin Street, the rookie, takes over for Dez Bryant. They'll get a closer look at the shoulder of Bryant. Extra men on the rush. Romo brought down. Sacked by their young stud, Jurrell Casey.
Jurrell Casey, number 99, is an outstanding football player coming off a great game last week at Kansas City. He beats his man and gets again in Tony Romo's face. And over the years, you just didn't see one guy like that be able to bring Romo down. But this is a special football player, Casey.
First sack of the season for Jurrell in his 4th year out of USC. Jones punts it. McCluster waits for it. And he'll let it go into the end zone. Looked like a promising start to the drive for Dallas. In the end, they lose Dez Bryant, at least in the short term. A sack would follow, then a punt. Titans have it first time, no score. 20th career start in the NFL for Jake Locker. Playing out his free agent contract. He's got something to prove. First thing he has to do is stay healthy. And he starts with a completion to Delanie Walker. This guy's got a lot of talent. Put up some big numbers when he played collegiately at Washington. But because he's had that injury-riddled first 3 years, he's got something to prove. And as we said in the open, he's in good hands with first-year head coach Ken Whisenhunt.
Well, I think the first thing he has to prove is that he can stay healthy, Joe. That's been one of the things that has hurt him. 2 years ago, he missed a number of games. He missed more games last year. They've got to keep him on the field, but he likes what they're doing offensively and what Ken Whisenhunt has brought.
He's put a lot in Locker's hands as Sean Green carries it on 2nd down and picks up 5. And what they're doing in the backfield is running back by committee. They ran it for 162 yards last week at Kansas City, Troy, but no back had more than 15 attempts.
No, it's a lot like what they did in San Diego last year when Ken Whisenhunt was the offensive coordinator there. They rotated a number of guys through. Even last week, guys like Dexter McCluster and Leon Washington, who don't typically get many carries at the running back position, they got involved in the action.
First 3rd down of the day, and the pass is incomplete. Wright gets up looking for a flag, won't get it. It was covered by Sterling Moore, and it's 3 and out.
You see they go to the trips of the bunch set. Man coverage. Pretty good thrown ball there by Jake Locker. And last week the Cowboys defensively weren't able to play as much man coverage as they would like because of the running ability of Colin Kaepernick. Now, Jake Locker, he's a heck of an athlete, but they'll be able to play a little more man coverage as they did on that 3rd down play to get off the field.
That one nearly blocked. The punt was actually tipped. They threw a flag. They may pick this flag up because one of the Dallas players got his hand on the football. And so now the referee and umpire will get together.
There is no foul for running into the kicker. The ball was tipped. First down.
It was Bruce Carter who got in there, got his hand on it, and the Cowboys, who will have it for the 2nd time. There's the deflection, so no flag. Have good field position. No score. First quarter, Nashville. Second possession for the Cowboys, no score. As they start at their own 31. Get a report on Dez Bryant after the play. Play action to the sideline. The pass is caught by Terrence Williams. First down Dallas, and we go down to Erin Andrews.
Joe, Dez Bryant remains in the Cowboys locker room getting that right shoulder worked on. I'm told he's probable to return. Remember, he missed most of the 3rd quarter last week with cramping.
Yeah, dehydrated last week, and now an injury here early on the first possession to his right shoulder. So they look at him. Terrence Williams becomes the biggest threat on the outside for Dallas, and on first down it's Murray. And DeMarco Murray, who had a big start last week, did this last week, puts it on the ground. He fumbled last week against San Francisco, and he fumbles this week against Tennessee.
So that fumble last week really set the tone for things to come in that game against San Francisco, and after an outstanding run, to put it on the ground, you just can't have it.
Tennessee takes over after the fumble by Murray. There is a bad F word that NFL running backs don't want attached to their name, and that's fumbler. Dez Bryant comes back onto the field. That's good news for Dallas, but it's back-to-back weeks and now 3 games in a row with a lost fumble for DeMarco Murray dating back to last season. Good starting field position. Pass caught. Delanie Walker, and we'll see a lot of the tight ends today for Tennessee. A pickup of 5. McClain on the tackle, and we go back to the fumble. And it was his teammate that knocked it out.
Yeah, he knocks it loose. It's in his left arm, but that, a hit like that just shouldn't happen. I don't care how good of a back you are. You're never good enough to overcome those kinds of turnovers. But give this defense some credit. Last week they forced 3 takeaways, 3 interceptions against a quarterback, Alex Smith, who only had 7 interceptions all of last year. Very opportunistic.
Here's Sankey, the rookie, and he ran into a wall. Eventually McClain got the tackle. It was Devin Street who knocked it out of the arm of DeMarco Murray. Pato Atua recovered for the Titans. And defensively, here are the players to watch. The rookie Anthony Hitchens is playing in place of the injured Justin Durant. And Rolando McClain had a good debut last week with 8 tackles for the Dallas Cowboys.
Boy, he really did. He came out, hadn't played in over a year, and played a little more really than they had anticipated, and he will again here today because of the injury to Justin Durant.
On 3rd down and 6, Locker hangs in, pass dropped. It's an incomplete pass, and it's another 3 and out. And you said it last week, Troy, that defense for Dallas, they played much better than you would have thought they would going in. They allowed, at the end of the day, 319 yards as opposed to an average of over 400 a year ago.
Yeah, they weren't great by any means, but I think in terms of what the expectations were, they held up pretty good against a good running football team last week against San Francisco. They certainly were not the reason that they lost that game. They pitched a shutout in the second half. They've gotten off to a good start here in this first quarter.
Tennessee had only 2 3-and-outs last week in Kansas City. They've got 2 and 2 possessions so far today. Harris lets it go over his head and into the end zone. So DeMarco Murray hoping for better things. He's been able to run with open spaces, but again, put it on the ground. 4 Dallas turnovers last week led to 21 49ers points. Last week, 3rd play from scrimmage. The fumble by DeMarco Murray, and Chris Culliver took it back the other way, 35 yards for a touchdown. No points off the turnover this time as Devin Street, DeMarco Murray's teammate, knocked it out. Dez Bryant back on the field. That's good news for Dallas. First down at their own 20. Murray gets it right back. And DeMarco, a ton of room. And out across the 40. A carry of 22 yards for DeMarco Murray for a first down for the Dallas Cowboys.
There's just so much movement along this offensive line. You're going to see the hole that DeMarco Murray has. Ron Leary, their left guard, he gets some movement there on Jarrell Casey, and then down the field Terrence Williams as the wide receiver. He's also blocking, and I really like this Terrence Williams. We saw him make a catch along the sideline in the previous possession, but well, he's not afraid to get into the game and block. Takes great pride in that ability.
Play action, Romo in trouble, sacked again. And it was Pato Atua who was there to tap him down, a loss of 6. Run blocking's working. The pass blocking is not for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he just has no opportunity whatsoever on this play. Just beat immediately. Doug Free, he's unable to slow Pato Atua down. Talked about Tony's mobility or lack thereof from what I've seen in previous years. It didn't matter who was playing quarterback on that play. He had no opportunity.
Sacked 3 times last week. Sacked 2 times already today. Delayed handoff to DeMarco Murray. Survives a few hits, crosses the 40, and we go back down to Erin Andrews.
You guys talked about earlier in the game Tony Romo and the rust that he had during week 1. Well, he said after week 1, his back did bother him quite a bit. He said it was nothing that limited him in practice or made him miss time, but he said, yeah, I felt it. And he also admitted, gosh, you really forget after week 1 how draining that is.
Third down and 9. Crowd comes alive. Blitz. Cowboys pick it up. Witten with a catch. And the Tennesseans got a first down for Dallas. Went around Michael Griffin, picked up 13 yards and a first down. He had only 2 catches week 1.
Well, this is a staple in a defense that Ray Horton runs. They're going to bring the linebackers inside. And you've got to be able to handle that blitz if you're going to have success throwing the football, especially on third down. The Cowboys pick up the blitz. They turn Witten loose, and Witten able to pick up the first down. A guy who wasn't all that involved last week, but throughout the course of the year, clearly he will be.
There's Murray right side on first down. Well played. That's Klug.
Now we heard Aaron talk about Tony this week and him coming off of that and how his back was going to respond. That was my question when we were doing the game last week, that you're limited in training camp, you're limited in preseason, and then you go out and you play 70 snaps. And having had back issues myself, it gets pretty stiff during the week, and that's something that he's going to have to be able to manage throughout this season. And it's not just the hits, it's just the grind of having to play that position over the course of 3.5 hours.
Out of the backfield, it's Murray trying to make a move. He's going to come up short of the first down as Wilson. There's an now flag for that shove on the sideline.
It looked from here, Joe, that it was a late hit. The official certainly thought the same.
After the play is over, personal foul, number 31, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
They get Bernard Pollard. George Wilson was over there as well. And instead of fourth down, it's a first down by the personal foul penalty. And it was Pollard who did indeed lay the hit once Murray got. And his left foot was still in bounds. I think that's a tough call.
Yeah, I think it's a bad call. I mean, it looked like he was out of bounds from here. I see what the official saw, but in fact, he was still in play. That's a big penalty.
Handoff is to Randall, and Joseph Randall spins forward with a first down and sets up first and goal. They're going to say now his knee was down before that spin and the extra yardage, and they set him up with 1st and 10 at the 11.
Well, we'll see what the Cowboys now do with the play calling now that they're inside the 20-yard line. Last week, Joe, they had 12 plays in the red zone and ran the ball just one time, and that was when DeMarco Murray was averaging over 5 yards a carry. I would expect them to run the football. They've had success doing that throughout this early part of the game.
Dunbar now in the backfield, gets it on a toss, running right. Well played, well pursued. And out there making the play was Xavier Gooden, who gets the start in place of the injured Zach Brown.
Yeah, and we were talking to Ray Horton about Xavier Gooden, and he said that they had planned coming into the season to let him and Zach Brown get some playing time. Very different style of players. Xavier Brown is regarded as more of the thumper, and Zach Brown, the guy who can really run sideline to sideline. But that was great pursuit by Xavier Brown.
Now second down and 11. Extra men on the rush. Romo sacked again. Jarrell Casey is there again for Tennessee.
Talked about Jarrell Casey a little bit earlier. Romo trying to get the ball to Witten. They throw that shorter route so effectively. They're trying to get one to the post. They have a chance if Romo's able to hold it, but you're not going to get much time with Jarrell Casey. If he's lined up inside, and they will move him around, he's going to create matchup problems for anyone who's trying to block him.
12 men in the huddle on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Now another 5 yards tacked on after a loss of 8 on the third sack by Tennessee. Second by Casey. Extra men in the huddle. And the Dallas Cowboys are going to snap it at the 25. They have to get inside the 1. It's basically 3rd and goal from the 25. The extra guys in the huddle, and it was Walt Coleman who saw it. To make it 3rd and 24. They can get a first down without getting it into the end zone. It's a screen for Harris. Penalty flag on the play. Harris down inside the 10.
It's the second week in a row, Joe. We've seen Dallas move the football effectively and get down in the red zone and self-destruct.
And eligible downfield prior to the pass, number 72, offense. Still 3rd down.
They get Travis Frederick, and that's back-to-back plays with penalties after the sack as the Cowboys continue to shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, here's Travis Frederick, the center, and they're expecting the ball to come out quicker than it did. They're going to hold their ground for just a count or two and then get up the field, and Romo held it a little longer than what they were anticipating, and he was downfield.
They had a first down at the 11. They have a 3rd down at the 30. Blitz. Romo trying to buy time. Throws it away. And now a 48-yard field goal try forthcoming from the right foot of Dan Bailey.
Well, the Titans, they bring the corner blitz. Jason McCourty off of Des Bryant, and now you're asking a safety, Michael Griffin, to come over and cover him. Romo sees it, and it's unlikely you're going to pick up that first down, but if you get it in Dez's hands right away and you give him a one-on-one against a safety, I like those odds. A little surprised Romo didn't give it to him.
48-yard try. Bailey 1 for 1 last week. He's one of the NFL's best. And he strokes it through. Frustration on the part of the Cowboys after that drive stalls at the 11. They went backward. Bryant frustrated. A 3-0 Cowboy lead. 3-0 lead for Dallas. Now Tennessee about to get it for the 3rd time. There's the scoring drive for the Cowboys. Tennessee led the NFL in time of possession week 1. And as the first quarter is about to expire, Tennessee's had it for less than 3 minutes. 2 minutes 52 seconds, and this 3rd drive will start at the 20. Let's go for a game break. Big news. Here's Joel Klatt.
Yeah, Joe, let's go to Washington. RG3 rolling to his right. He would go down awkwardly on the sidelines on the completion. Kirk Cousins enters the game. On his first attempt, he's going to find Daryl Young for the 20-yard touchdown. 7-0 Washington. RG3 carted to the locker room in an air cast, Joe. Developments from Washington.
Yeah, and the most recent development is a touchdown pass from Kirk Cousins.
I like Kirk Cousins, and I know they like him in Washington, too.
We'll watch the Redskins next week in Philadelphia. Here's Sean Green. Good for 6. Cowboys have their first lead of this young season, and they will have it after 1 quarter here in Nashville. Back and forth. We've gone 3 points on the board. They belong to Dallas. Back after this from your local Fox station. Titans are looking for their first down of the game. 3rd time they've had it. 2nd and 3 as we start quarter number 2.
A little different from last week when they controlled the ball for over 37 minutes. Still looking for their first down.
Locker throws off his back foot. Claiborne can't come up with it. He was in front of Justin Hunter. And Morris Claiborne, who has 2 career interceptions in 26 career games, almost had his 3rd.
Justin Hunter does an outstanding job of coming back to the ball and breaking this up, because when the ball was in the air, it looked like Claiborne was going to have an easy interception. Jake Locker just fails to see Claiborne fall underneath that corner throw. Fortunate that ball wasn't intercepted.
3rd down and 3. 4 men on the rush. Locker can't find anywhere to go, and he's picked off by Church. From a near interception from Locker to an interception. And it's the first takeaway for this Cowboy defense this season.
Great protection up front by Tennessee. Jake Locker hangs in the pocket. He's trying to get the ball to Delanie Walker on a square end. Here he is here. And it's a throw that just got away from him. You know, anytime you're throwing the ball over the middle when you got a middle safety like that, you got to keep the ball down. This one sails on him. And Barry Church is in a perfect position to get the interception that they failed on the play before.
Wilcox may have had a hold of Delanie Walker just a bit. And it was Church waiting for the throw as the Dallas defense gets a takeaway.
Well, Cowboys set up with great field position to start this drive once again.
At the 40, handoff is to Murray. Gets the edge. Murray off to a great start. Rushed for 118 against the 49ers last week. He gets 18 right here.
Yeah, they're able to get the edge because Michael Griffin, who's down as the extra guy in the box, anticipating run, just gets caught inside. Here's Michael Griffin, and you're going to see they bring the Terrence Williams over. He gets caught in the wash. And Bleedy Ray Wilson, he's not able to make a play either.
Already 61 yards on the day for Murray. He adds to it. He looks like he is determined to make up for that second fumble of the year. Running hard, gets 6 here.
Now, this is a tough individual here. DeMarco Murray takes a lot of pride in his ability to do the things that the Cowboys want from him. And yeah, I thought last week, Joe, in that game that the offensive line did a good job, but I thought he got yards even when there wasn't a whole lot there. He ran extremely hard in that game. He's doing that again here today. He just got to protect the football.
Hand off to Murray again. Down inside the 5 near the 2. They're going to mark him at the 3 to set up 1st and goal, and it's DeMarco Murray in the ground game that's getting Dallas set up near the end zone.
Yeah, I think right now every Cowboy fan is kind of holding their breath to see what they're going to call here on this 1st down play. You know, they've seen this before, and as long as they're running the football the way that they are and their offensive line is giving this man the holes that he's getting, they just keep feeding him the ball.
Murray. He has got it for the touchdown on second effort. His second touchdown of the season. And that's DeMarco Murray and this good, big, young offensive line getting the touchdown, and he did score.
Yeah, he sure did. And look, you got to see whether or not his knee was down before the ball stretched. I think it's a touchdown too. As you said, Joe, just great second effort. That's an outstanding job with good field position. This offensive line creating some holes, some tough running by DeMarco Murray. And I'll tell you, those big guys up front, they like that. They like when you get down there and continue to pound the ball like they did here on this possession. It's a great job.
How about the day for Murray already? 11 carries, 83 yards, averaging 7.5 yards a carry. And we're just into the second quarter. He has helped give the Dallas Cowboys a 10-0 lead. And the hole gets a little bigger for the Titans as Murray in the ground game take advantage of the interception by Barry Church to lead 10-0. Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee. There's the scoring drive for the Dallas Cowboys. Marco Murray is off to a good start, did have the fumble. Dallas Cowboys trying to avoid an 0-2 start. Last time they started 0-2 was 2010. That was the year Dallas fired head coach Wade Phillips in November. Jason Garrett took over. He's had 3 straight 8-8 seasons since. Today, following football, be prepared for a new breed of fighter as 16 women compete for an historic UFC title. Don't miss an encore presentation of the jaw-dropping season premiere of The Ultimate Fighter. A champion will be crowned coming up after football right here on Fox. So now what for Ken Whisenhunt and Jake Locker? It's been a bad offensive start here in their home opener. Hand it off to Green, running left. Nice move. First down.
You know, when Sean Green has had his opportunities today, he's done okay with them, you know, and that's how you settle down a young quarterback. And you know, Jake Locker really isn't all that young any longer. He's in his 4th season, but he is struggling here in this game with just 2 completions. And if you can come back and then hand the ball off and not have to carry the load, it'll sure help settle him down a little bit. This is a lot different start than the one they had a week ago.
So after their first down of the game, Locker throws and into good coverage. Pass intended for Justin Hunter, and it was more there again for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, what I'm seeing from Dallas is they're challenging receivers. You know, a lot of that underneath stuff that we just saw Locker try to complete was open last week when they were in their zone coverages. There were a lot of voided areas against San Francisco, and they've cleaned a lot of that up during the week, and balls are being contested here today.
Ron Marinelli, who's taken over as defensive coordinator, former head coach in this league with Detroit, as Locker sets up and overthrows his tight end Taylor Thompson. And this has been, it just looks shaky right now for Jake Locker.
Well, that's a throw that you got to complete. If you're going to play quarterback in this league, you have to make this throw. The pocket is good, it's clean, and he's got an open receiver and open by a lot. You've got to be able to lay that ball and complete it.
Now 3rd down and 10.
Hey, come on! Hey, wide, 80! 180, hot! Hey, take the game over here! Hey, roll it! Hey, right there! 280!
You can see Barry Church trying to get Claiborne off the line of scrimmage. Pass is caught short of a first down. It was Kendall Wright. He had a lot of real estate to try and cover. He gets 8, 2 yards shy of a first down.
There were a lot of blue jerseys trying to corral him, but a good scheme there by defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli. They bring the pressure off the slot, force Locker to get the ball out of his hands. 3rd and long, you then got to be able to make the tackle. The Cowboys are able to do so.
I think what Marinelli's dealing with, no DeMarcus Ware, no Jason Hatcher, Sean Lee, the middle linebacker, best defensive players out for the year. No Anthony Spencer yet. Orlando Scandrick, their best defensive back, is suspended the first 4 games as it stands now. Good punt by Kern. And it'll check up as it's touched by Thompson inside the 10 near the 5. They're going to mark the ball at the 6 after a 54-yard punt by Brett Kern. Cowboys have it up 10. The day for Murray, the day for Tennessee with regard to total yards. Each side with a turnover. Joseph Randall in a tailback for Dallas starting at the 6. Randall gets it. There's a lot of room to run. I thought Tony Romo put it really well when we visited with him. He said, you know, we had success last week against San Francisco, and they like to go toe-to-toe with you. This is more of a slashing defense, and there is room to run, and that's proven to be fact.
Well, yeah, and this offensive line is once again doing a terrific job. It is a moving defense, you know, unlike the one that they saw last week. And with that, sometimes you're able to see some creases. But I think it's more a product of what they're doing along that offensive line than anything Tennessee is not doing defensively. But there's a lot of pressure on this defense right now because they've not gotten any help from that offense.
Randall still in there, and he gets it. Started right, cuts back left, throws a stiff arm, and turns it into a nice gain of 4 yards as he put his right hand into the chest of Bleedy Ray Wilson.
You know, you think back to the preseason, Joe, and this Tennessee defense, and you know, a lot of these teams, they came out and ran the football against them and went right down the field and came away with touchdowns. And then last week they face a good runner in Jamal Charles, and they bottled him up, and everybody was pretty excited, but they're kind of falling back to some of the same problems that we saw with this group in August.
Second and 6. Romo has got Escobar. And the second-year tight end who did not have a catch week 1 is good for a gain of 4. Third and short coming up. Morgan on the tackle.
Well, obviously the focus for Tennessee as it relates to trying to slow down some of these skilled players for Dallas is containing a guy like Dez Bryant. The first play of the game, they came out and covered him like it was almost a punt formation, and he was a gunner. They put 2 guys right out there on him, and he's going to draw a lot of looks. He had a great camp. Didn't have much to show for it last week. We heard Aaron Andrews talk about the dehydration issues that he went through. Playing right now with how bad the shoulder is, but someone who's an outstanding player in this league.
Here's a toss to Murray running left, and the Cowboys pick up another first down. And they've been able to do it at will on the ground. As Murray is closing in on a 100-yard day, he's got 12 more.
Well, we came in expecting the Cowboys to run the football because of the criticism that they faced, Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, faced throughout the week, and they have been able to do that. I saw a game yesterday, Joe, with Arkansas and Texas Tech. Arkansas had 13-play drive for a touchdown and ran the ball all 13 times. And I think Dallas, as successful as they've been running the football, I'd like to see what they could do if they did nothing but hand it off, because they're gashing them right now.
Handoff is to Murray. Tries to duck behind an offensive lineman. Picks up 2. Cowboys have 12 first downs in this game, 8 of them by running the football, and that's how they got their touchdown, as Murray pounded it in with a great second effort.
You just don't trust, though, that they're going to stick with it, do you? I mean, you watch it and you see it.
We've seen enough Cowboy games to know that sooner or later, despite all the success, the ball's going in the air. Not yet. Here's Murray, right side, and a good play out on the edge. It was Derek Morgan who put Murray on his back. No gain.
That's an outstanding job by Derek Morgan, a guy who had to make the transition from a defensive end, hand in the ground, to a stand-up linebacker. Had never played linebacker, and that really is that's what determines whether or not you're going to have success in this scheme. But he played that run very, very well.
Feel like Romo's going to have to put it up here. Dunbar in the backfield on 3rd and 8. Pass caught by Witten, and he's wrapped up. Nice play by Pollard, and it's 4th down. But a drive that started at the 6 crosses the 40 and gets the field position back in favor of Dallas.
Well, they bring Bleedy Ray Wilson off the corner, and essentially the same thing the Cowboys did on their defensive possession. 3rd and long, bring an extra guy, make the quarterback get the ball out of his hands, and then rally to the football. That's a good defensive stop by Tennessee.
Chris Jones will hit it. McCluster waits for it. Not very pretty, but effective, as it's kept out of the end zone by Harris. And they're going to mark the ball down at the 2. Dwayne Harris, an outstanding special teams player, got down there and kept it out of the end zone with this. And he did. The drive will start for the Titans at the 2 as they trail Dallas by 10.
Chris Jones with an excellent punt to pin Tennessee back on the 2. Joe, this is a good position on the field to take a shot.
And now this will start from the 1.
Full start, 84, offense, back to distance to the goal. Touchdown.
It's a young tight end, Taylor Thompson, who played collegiately at SMU and is from Dallas.
Yeah, that won't impact them much, just backing them up a yard. But so many times defensively, you start thinking that all they're going to do is try to get the ball off the goal line, which they have to do. But you're going to get one-on-one looks outside. It's worth taking a shot.
Instead they hand off. And out to the 4-yard line is Sean Green, who had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons while with the Jets. Had a down year last year in his first try here with Tennessee, as this big group, Troy, tries to take over and replace Chris Johnson, who is now, ironically enough, with the Jets.
Yeah, those are big shoes to fill. They're trying to fill them with about 4 different guys.
Johnson had about 8,000 yards over 6 years for the Titans. And it's Sean Green right up the gut. The ball is off the goal line after a gain of 13.
Well, it's a good double team right here. Brian Schwenke, their center, and then Andy Levitri. The job that they're able to do, get some movement and create a crease. That's an excellent job. The first thing you want to do when you're backed up on the 1-yard line is just get 1 first down so you at least give your punter some room. If you're not able to get the ball going any further than that, they get the first down, and now they can operate the offense.
Sankey gets it. And the rookie who played in Washington carries for 4. Bishop, as a junior, was a first-team All-Pac-12 player, had over 1,800 yards, rushed for 20 touchdowns. Not a big guy. He's 5'10", 209. Led the Titans in rushing during the preseason, and he's had some work here early. He stays in on 2nd and 6. Locker out to his left. Pursued by McClain. Made a decent move, and he's able to turn that into a positive play of a yard as George Selvey made the stop.
That's a good coverage by Dallas. You're going to see they're playing zone coverage, but they attack their guys, and there's just not much separation. Locker's had some time in the pocket. You see Nate Washington there. He's one of the best at getting in and out of breaks. I thought he was outstanding watching him last week, but just really nowhere for Locker to go with the football. And he shows some of his ability to improvise and get outside the pocket.
Rushed for almost 2,000 yards in college and 29 touchdowns.
It's a big 3rd down for Tennessee offensively.
3rd down and 5. Locker sliding. Back across the middle. Pass was behind Washington and dropped. Opportunity was there, and the opportunity is lost.
It looked like Locker could have either made a better throw and pick up the first down, or he could have tucked it and ran for the first down. He had some open field out in front of him, but that is one of the criticisms of Jake Locker's is his accuracy. And he's got an open guy, and now you've just got to put it on him, because those types of throws you just have to be able to complete.
5 possessions now for Tennessee, and the numbers are not very good. 60 total yards as Kern goes down trying to sell, running into the punter. Instead, it's a short punt. Good starting field position at their own 41 for the Cowboys. As the offense comes back onto the field, leading here on the road in Nashville by 10. An opportunity here for Dallas. There's the day for Tony Romo, who said after last week, I have to play at a higher level. Then told us he needed a full game to see how he would get through it physically. The higher level from Romo not needed because of the ground game of the Dallas Cowboys, and a cutback by DeMarco Murray picks up 2.
We've spent some time talking about this offensive line and the 3 first-round picks that they have playing this year's right guard Zach Martin. Made his first start last week, did an outstanding job, and a 4-year starter there at Notre Dame, and by all accounts it looks like they've got another one right with that pick. 3 solid guys and a group that they can build this entire organization around. But Zach Martin's playing with a fairly significant foot injury, but he's a tough guy, and he's battled through it and done a nice job.
On 2nd down, Romo finds his man. Pass is caught. That's Bryant, short of the first down. And it was with that 16th pick that the Cowboys took Zach Martin to beef up this growing, very good young offensive line instead of taking Johnny Manziel, which created a lot of conversation and was the feature of an ESPN The Magazine article with quotes from Jerry Jones about him still being mad that they didn't take Johnny Football.
Well, I think he's pretty happy with the one they've got. He's been really good.
3rd down and 3. Pass caught. First down. Bryant battling through a shoulder injury that happened early, in a first down outside the 40, a gain of 12.
Yeah, you always worry when you're trying to cover Dez Bryant and how exactly you're going to play him in short yardage situations. And McCourty comes up, tries to challenge him, but Dez Bryant is just so physical with that inside move, it's almost impossible to be able to hold him up.
McCourty's a good player. The question is on the other side. Bleedy Ray Wilson trying to take the spot vacated by Alteron Ferner, who signed as a free agent with Tampa Bay, as Murray breaks loose for another first down. As he takes it to the 30, he gets 11 more.
That's a little bit like what I talked about last week. He's running tough. He's getting the most of what's there and breaking some tackles along the way.
And a free agent to be. We're at the 2-minute warning. First half, Tennessee. All Cowboys so far. Today's game on Fox is sponsored by iTunes. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. First down, Dallas at the Tennessee 30.
Hey, 32 wall. 32 wall. 180.
Here's Murray right side. Full head of steam as he got to the line of scrimmage, and on first down, Dallas still with all 3 of their timeouts. He picks up 4.
This is a big possession right here defensively for Tennessee. You look at the score, 10-0. They've gotten nothing out of their offense. If they can hold Dallas to just 3 points, I think you go in at halftime, not feeling great, certainly being down, but you feel better about the odds of being able to come back. But if they give up a touchdown here, that's going to be awfully deflating for this football team.
Lisa! Left Lisa! Here we go!
Little pump fake. Romo hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete. And it was Cameron Wembley who came with the hit off the edge. Third down coming up.
Cameron Wembley, number 95, he's able to go around Jason Witten and get home to Romo. I don't think he had a whole lot there, but they are finally able to get a little pressure and get him on the ground.
3 early sacks for this Tennessee defense. Cowboys have had their way since. 3rd and 6. Bryant through his hands, incomplete. Covered by McCourty. A chance for a completion, but Des Bryant could not make the catch.
Hard catch to make, but one that Des Bryant will typically bring in. It was high. It's a throw that you want to have down a little bit to protect the receiver. If it is down, he probably makes that catch without any problems, but I've seen Des make a lot tougher receptions than that one.
2 for 2 on the year, 1 for 1 today, and now a 44-yard try for Dan Bailey. Long and perfect. What a weapon the Cowboys have in Dan Bailey. And it's a 13-0 game as number 5 has gone 2 for 2 this afternoon with 1:02 left in the first half. There's a brand new show coming to Fox that critics are raving about, saying things like it's a lightning bolt of fresh air with the IT ensemble of the season. You don't want to miss Red Band Society this Wednesday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, only on Fox.
Well, we'll see what Ken Whisenhunt decides to do with just over a minute left in this half. An offense that hasn't done a whole lot. They've got their timeouts. Do they go in down 13 points? Or do they try to come away with something here before the half? But they've got a lot to clean up when they get in there to come out in this second half.
Escobar is headed in to get looked at. So far for Tennessee, they've had the ball 5 times. They have only 2 first downs.
And I think Tennessee defensively, when you consider what they're going up against and some of the playmakers that Dallas has, they've held up. Dallas has had awfully good field position throughout this first half. I think it's been a pretty good performance overall to have only given up 13 points.
Bailey hangs this one high. A chance for a return. And it's Leon Washington. One of the best in the business, can't make it out to the 15. Jeff Heath on the stop. Let's look back at 2011 in the draft and the quarterbacks that came out. And you see the earliest picks. Newton, number 1 overall, Locker and Gabbert, who's now backing up in San Francisco after a rough stretch with Jacksonville. Locker 8th overall, but then some bigger names and to this point better players those last two guys picked.
Well, I think what it shows you is you see what some of those guys have gone on to do, some a lot better than others, but it just kind of tells you how much of a need there is for quarterbacks in this league.
Here's a pass too high for Kendall Wright. Wright was in a perfect spot, found a hole in the defense, and the throw too high from Locker.
Yeah, it was a good concept. They've got good spacing by the wide receivers, and Kendall Wright is open. It's just another throw that gets away from Jake Locker, unable to complete a pass that just needs to be completed to play in this league.
A rating of under 2. Under a minute to go, first half. Second down and 10. Locker steps up, down he goes. In the arms of linebacker Kyle Wilber. And then he gets his first sack of the season, one of the extra linebackers for Dallas.
Yeah, they get the timeout then from Dallas. That's what you worry about when you come out. Dallas had all their timeouts as well, so now you've got third down. If they don't convert here, Dallas is going to get an opportunity to come away with some more points before this half ends.
Let's find out what's coming up at halftime. Here's Curt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, RG3 carted off against the Jags. We'll have an update. Adrian Peterson's backup gets on the board against the Patriots, and the Dolphins and Bills battle for the top spot in the AFC East. We got all that and more coming up on the Visa halftime.
It's amazing how they get those big letters in and out of that studio every week.
I tell you, RG3 going down, you just kind of wonder what the future holds for him as to what the severity of that injury is and what its status is going to look like.
Cousins has had a good performance already. Here's Walker. Delaney Walker is going to be wrapped up short of a first down, and Dallas will spend their second timeout about to get the ball back. J.J. Wilcox on the stop for the Cowboys, and the offense for Ken Whisenhunt and Jake Locker has done nothing.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you got to look at the risk reward there on first down. You've got an open guy in Kendall Wright. You fail to complete it. If they complete that pass, you're off and running. You know, with a chance to maybe come away with some points, that would have been a pretty nice game to start this drive. You miss it. Now the clock stops, and then you're battling the fact that you need to get a first down, and how do you go about doing that? They run it. They force Dallas to burn a timeout, fail to convert. But there is plenty of time, and they're going to get the ball with good field position before this half ends.
Already the fifth punt for Brett Kern with Dwayne Harris, a real good return man waiting. Carter almost got there again. Harris room to run. Getting to the sideline and forced out in Tennessee territory by George Wilson. 15-yard return by Dwayne Harris.
Well, Dwayne Harris, he's one of the better return guys in the game, and that's just not a good job by Tennessee's coverage unit. They've got 4 Titans in a position to keep him corralled and make a play without him picking up really any yardage, and he's still able to escape. It was a nice return by him.
Cody Sensabaugh, who had a sack last week, was the guy who really let him get away. And now Dallas takes over at the Tennessee 48 with 23 seconds left and 1 timeout in their pocket. Romo throws low for Whitney. Had him.
I think Tony's even a little surprised by that one. You don't see that very often. He had time, and Jason Whitney, as you said, he was wide open. Just not a good pass.
In case you're wondering, Dan Bailey's career long 53 yards. Did that 3 times last year. That means getting it to the 35-yard line. On 2nd and 10, there's Witten, and the tough catch over the middle. He got popped by Bernard Pollard, and now inside field goal range of the Cowboys as they use their final timeout.
Now Jason Witten, he works the middle of the field exceptionally well. He knows where the weaknesses are within those zone coverages. Just a an outstanding football player, knowing he's going to get hit, knowing that Pollard's going to be there when he turns around. He hangs on to the football. It's an excellent job.
From northeastern Tennessee. He played it collegiately at Tennessee, and here we are in Tennessee, which is, as he said, where the dream began. And as we talked about last week, a dream that may very well end up in Canton, Ohio, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Well, we spent a lot of time this week, obviously, talking about all the bad things that have happened around our game, and I can assure you that he's one of the good things in this sport. He represents the game very well. He's a Walter Payton Man of the Year a few years back, and just does an excellent job in the community, and a great football player.
Scat left.
14 seconds left. No timeouts for Dallas. 4 men on the rush. Pass is too high for Witten, trying to bite off a little more of the yardage for Dan Bailey, and the Cowboys aren't going to mess with it anymore with 9 seconds left. They'll bring Bailey out, try and make it a 16-point game. 51-yard try for Bailey, who was 6 for 7 last year in field goal attempts from 50 or more yards, and he has a franchise record with 11 field goals of 50 or more. Good snap, good hold. The kick is perfect. 3 for 3 on the day, 4 for 4 on the year, and it's a 16-0 Dallas Cowboy lead.
It's a good job by this special teams unit, as you said. Good snap, good hold, and he hits all of it. That's a big blow right there to this Tennessee team. Talked about it earlier. The defense able to make a stop, force a field goal, down 13, but then the inability of the offense to get anything going, to get a first down, to be able to take the clock down to end this half, and it results in another 3 points added to the scoreboard.
Cowboys are halfway, over halfway to a 400-yard day against the Tennessee defense, and offensively the Titans with 68 total yards and only 2 first downs in the first half against what's supposed to be the worst defense in the NFL, and they've made the statement with last week and this that they're a lot better than they were a year ago.
Yeah, you know, they were certainly better last week than I anticipated, and I think everybody was kind of wondering here in Nashville just what Kansas City offered against this team a week ago, and I guess we still don't really know, but this Dallas defense is better than a lot of people give them credit for, and maybe this Titans offense wasn't quite as efficient as what we believe they were against Kansas City.
Got to credit Rod Marinelli and the job he's done rallying guys that you've never heard of. Wake of the departure of Hatcher and DeMarcus Ware, who had 117 sacks over 9 years in Dallas. That's the way the first half will end. A first half dominated by the Dallas Cowboys here on the road, trying to even their record at 1-1. Visa halftime is coming up, but we'll be back on the other side of the break. Before Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy, we'll give you the Visa halftime. Elation for Dallas, frustration for Jake Locker, the Titans.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Come on, you all know the second verse. The taste of love is sweet. Hearts. Hold on a second. Here's our Nissan performance that excites. Stat of the half, DeMarco Murray. 115 yards and a touchdown, and he did it behind that offensive line that is the third youngest starting across the NFL for a team that, by the way, and this might surprise people, is the third youngest team across the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys. You don't really think of them that way, but they've gotten a lot younger defensively, and that offensive line is bringing that average down. Tennessee Titans have work to do, down 16-0. But Leon Washington misreading that. Ends up getting on top of it, but he's wrapped up inside the 10. That ball didn't fly as far as he thought it would, and he had to recover. Joseph Randall, the first guy there. And the Titans will start inside their own 10 at the 8. Let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
Caught up with Ken Wisenhunt coming out of the locker room. He said, I'll sum up the first half for you. We missed plays and we were horrible on third down. He said starting here in the second half, Jake Locker has to make some throws and somebody has to make a play for him. And guys, I did ask Jason Garrett. I said, Troy and Joe were talking about the run. Are you going to stick with the run? And he said, you know what, we're just going to keep attacking. Didn't want to commit to anything there.
All right. I'm sure he smiled when you said that we were talking about the ground game. Your former backup quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys. His Locker sets up a screen, and he's got Kendall Wright. And Kendall Wright's got a first down and a good start for the Titans, down 16. A catch and run of 12 yards as we look at the stats after one half of the play.
Well, that was a good start to start this second half. Not a lot of positives there in the first half. An inability offensively, as Ken Wisenhunt talked about. They did not convert a third down, and then just too many plays left out there on the field. But this is an important drive for Tennessee to get something going and prove to themselves that they're capable of moving the football.
Blitz coming. Pass caught. That's right on this side. And back-to-back completions to Kendall Wright. This time good for 11. Another first down.
Well, this is an outstanding football player, young player in Kendall Wright. He's got great quickness. He's able to get out of this break. You see from the slot position, but I like what Ken Wisenhunt is doing as the play caller. Get Jake Locker into some kind of rhythm. 2 quick passes to start this second half.
Handoff now is to McCluster. And Dexter McCluster on first down gets 9.5. That previous play, that was Sterling Moore coming on a blitz. Got there about a step too late. 2nd and 1 as Ken Wisenhunt's offense has come out clicking here in the second half.
Yeah, this is about as good as they've looked. They've made 3 good plays.
Locker with time. Pass caught. Delaney Walker, good throw. And Walker a first down inside the 45 to the 44, good for 16.
Locker does an outstanding job of hanging in the pocket. He will do this. He will hang in the pocket if he has to, if he's got an open receiver, and absorb the blow. Cowboys play man coverage. They challenge the receivers. Delaney Walker, who was primarily a blocker at San Francisco, has a great year for this team last year. He creates separation, wins on the route.
The run 4 plays have 3 first downs. Play number 5. It's McCluster with another inside the 30.
Tell you, I'd like to know what Ken Wisenhunt said to this group. They're at halftime, but they have come out to start this second half an entirely different team from the one we saw in the first half. Great execution, good holes up front by the offensive line, doing a nice job.
High snap, handoff is to McCluster again, and he gets tripped up in the backfield by Sterling Moore. Loss of 1.
Dexter McCluster, they pick him up. He was with the Chiefs last year, and a guy who really, for the most part of his career, hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities to carry the football. He's outstanding out of the backfield as a receiver, and he's a lot like what San Diego had last year with Wisenhunt, with Danny Woodhead, but he is now becoming more involved in the running game, doing a good job.
Locker throws, pass contested, broken up. Good coverage there. Washington, the intended receiver, with Brandon Carr all over him.
Yeah, just playing tight coverage across the board. A little more man, or a little more zone coverage there in that first half to start this second half. The Cowboys are challenging the receivers. That time Carr is able to make a play.
Now 3rd down and 11. Locker tries to get out of trouble. Wrapped up. And what looked like a very promising drive ends up stalling inside the 30 as Rolando McClain is there, but there was nowhere for Locker to throw it. or run to.
Well, that's something at least offensively they can build on maybe throughout the rest of this half. Did a good job. They were backed up because of Leon Washington unable to field that ball on the kickoff, and to be able to come away with potentially some points here is good. But the Cowboys, they rally and make a key stop again on 3rd down.
They get a sack to force a 47-yard try by Ryan Succop. He was 4 for 4 last week in his return to Kansas City, and is now 5 for 5 as a Tennessee Titan. So the Titans are on the board, trailing by 13. Different looking team at the start of the second half for the Titans. Hot Hattie B's Chicken right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Beautiful day as we play here on the 14th of September. Ryan Succop just hit from 47. Good start to the second half for the Titans offense. Cowboys will get it at their 20. We'll take a break and come right back. Back that offensive line. Running back DeMarco Murray and Tony Romo up 13. Tony Romo is 10 of 16 for 94 yards, and that's the good news for the Dallas Cowboys. He hasn't had to do much because of the ground game and the attack of DeMarco Murray. Starting at the 20. There he is, left side, and he will tumble forward for 3. And this is a different looking attack there, Mr. Aikman, for the Dallas Cowboys so far here today.
It sure is. It's the one we've been hearing about for a while from Dallas as far as what they want to do and whether or not they're going to stick to the run. It sure looks like they're going to, and why not? DeMarco Murray having a great game, and it's been, I don't know that Tony Romo's ever been involved in a game where he's been able to rely on the running game like he has here today.
What a luxury for a quarterback coming off a 3-interception game and coming off his second back surgery. Romo, in his career, the week after he throws 3 or more interceptions, a quarterback rating of over 94, 13 touchdowns, 7 picks, but 4 and 5 overall. Again, the Cowboys lead by 13 and now faced with 3rd and 7.
That's the guy right there, Jarrell Casey.
Working on Smith. Romo sacked. Brought down by Bernard Pollard. And it's 3 and out for the Cowboys to start this second half.
That's a good stop by Tennessee defensively. Initially, there was time for Romo to get the ball out. You see Jason Witten, they turn him loose in the middle, but by the time Romo wants to get back to him, he just is under too much duress, and a good job getting pressure again. He's been roughed up pretty good in this game.
First sack of the year for Pollard. 4th sack of the day for Tennessee. As Leon Washington heads out of bounds. They'll mark it at the 32. The Titans will take over second possession of the half, down 13. Tennessee with only 2 guys with a catch so far in this game. Delaney Walker and Kendall Wright. That's it. Down by 13. First down at their own 32. Walker has found Walker again. And the completion is good for 6, and we go down to Aaron Andrews.
It was a big stop for Tennessee's defense, who did it without their cornerback Jason McCourty. He is questionable to return with a groin injury, although since the Titans have come out of the locker room since halftime, he hasn't had his helmet near him. Shane, we had a good time talking to him. He's really looking forward to going up against Des Bryant today.
Yeah, a real impressive young man. Had a good year last year, off to a good start. 2 interceptions at Kansas City last week, and now on the sideline. For the rest of his defensive teammates, as Washington has his first catch. His knee was down, a small gain of 1 as Sterling Moore was there. And we've said the name of Sterling Moore a few times already, a free agent out of SMU in his 4th year with Dallas.
Yeah, he's playing because of the suspension to Orlando Scandrick, scheduled to miss the first 4 games. Likely he'll be back next week because of the change of that policy. He's done a nice job. You know, we've seen Tennessee here in this half throw the quick passes. Dallas really playing these receivers tight. I think Tennessee's got to take a shot down the field. They got a chance again here if they want to take one.
0 for 7 on third down are the Titans, and he's got Walker. Delanie Walker in a foot race to the end zone.
You're going to see Delanie Walker. He's going to the corner route. Nate Washington, he gets bottled up on the outside. You got two receivers in the same area. Usually a corner can sometimes come off of that and make a play, but they fit that pass in. And then Delanie Walker able to break the tackle there on the play. Claiborne is the one who missed the tackle, and that's the big play that this offense has been needing.
Big play of 61 yards, and Morris Claiborne didn't make a play on the ball and then didn't make a tackle. Barely slowed down Delanie Walker, who for a big man can really run, and he proved it. A highlight for Jake Locker, the biggest play of the season. Titans back in it, down by 6.
Another look at that touchdown route. Nate Washington has got to clear out here. You've got Delanie Walker going to the corner. Morris Claiborne actually does a good job of holding up Washington, and that's why you've got two receivers in the same area. But Claiborne, who could have come off of that, maybe made a play on the ball, but he's got to be able to bring him to the ground. He did everything right except make the tackle when he had the chance, and because of that, the Tennessee Titans are right back in this ball game.
On their first third down conversion of the game, a career-long catch for Delanie Walker, 61 yards. He's got his first career 100-yard game. Talented guy, but he used to play behind one of the best ever in Vernon Davis in San Francisco. Had 6 touchdowns last year, and now Delanie Walker's got his second of the season here in 2014. This October, history will be made as baseball's postseason moves to America's new sports network. Fox Sports 1 is your new home for baseball's National League Division and Championship Series. It all begins this October on October 3rd. We'll see how committed the Dallas Cowboys are to that heavy run mix, as it's now a one-score game. Short pass. Pass was a bit underthrown. Catch made by Dez Bryant, and they're going to mark him out at the 29.5. He got 9.5.
Well, with that score, then you get the crowd back into this ball game. The Cowboys are well represented here at this stadium, but the fans haven't had a whole lot to cheer about, but they started to make a little bit of noise now that this defense is out on the field.
Gavin Escobar, who we saw leave the field in the first half, is back out there. So an extra tight end, and they run it on 2nd and 1 and pick up the first down with Murray. So after a 3-and-out the first time they had it this half, a 5-yard carry by Murray and a first down.
Well, we'll see what Tennessee's able to do defensively, and as you said, Joe, what Scott Linehan decides to do offensively. What they've been doing has been, really good, and then it depends on being able to convert on third downs. They get the first down there on 2nd, but Tennessee looking to make a key stop.
Off Murray, left side, good pickup on first down. Sammy Hill made the tackle, a gain of 6.
Jason Witten, for all the accolades that he gets because of his ability to catch the football, these are the things that really kind of get lost with him, because he's an outstanding blocker. If you're going to run the football to the tight end side, that tight end better be able to secure the edge and block, and he is one of the most well-rounded tight ends, not only right now in the game, but that's ever played the position.
Play action from Romo, who steps up, throws, short again, but the pass is caught. And Dez Bryant's got a first down inside the 40. We've seen some underthrown balls from Tony Romo to wide open players. He's had a couple of completions on those throws, but the ball just doesn't seem to be coming out of his hand like he expects it to.
Yeah, you know, it even goes back to training camp where some of the issues that Tony had was the deep throws. You know, we saw it again last week. The intermediate throws didn't seem to be much of a problem. I think he's being real careful with the football right now, which is something he should be concerned with, but an excellent job by Dez Bryant making that reception.
Yeah, that was a good catch. Here's Murray spinning down inside the 35. And a gain of 6.
Yeah, it's a good possession right now by Dallas. You know, Tennessee, they get the big play, they cut the score to 6, and now Dallas has to get something going after they went 3 and out on their opening possession of this half, and they've been able to do that. So here they are knocking on the door once again to come away with some points of their own on this drive.
Titans come with a blitz. Romo. This is tipped and dropped off the right hand of Jason Witten and nearly picked off. And it'll be 3rd down and 4.
Now, this one won't show up on the stat sheet, but it looked like Jason Witten, after a ball that was high, he turns and he's the one who's able to at least keep Pollard from being able to intercept the pass. Pollard has it, and then Witten comes back in because it sure looked like if he catches that football, there was nothing out in front of him. I don't think Romo would have been able to make a play.
That could have turned the game. Now 3rd and 4. Blitz again. Romo, quick setup, ball in the air and down incomplete, but a flag is thrown. Dez Bryant was interfered with.
That's Bleedy Ray Wilson, who now is responsible for covering Dez Bryant. Initially, it was fine. You see the left hand there.
Pass interference, number
pull
25.
on the jersey.
Defense. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
You know, Bleedy Ray is a young player. He got his first NFL start last week. And now with Jason McCourty down because of the groin injury, he's going to draw 88. A fair amount. Played him tough. He just got the left hand on the jersey.
Only the 3rd Tennessee penalty of the day. They had 12 last week. That's a big one. Instead of 4th down, it gives a first down at the 24. Back to the ground. Little hesitation by Murray, and he's down inside the 20, but a flag. And a hold against Dallas.
Holding, number 72, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
2nd-year pro Travis Frederick.
Well, there he is in the middle of the screen. We'll take a look and see. Yep, there's that's a pretty good hold there.
Had a hold of the jersey of Sammy Hill, and so after getting the pass interference, the ball comes all the way back to the 34 for 1st and 20. Still more running plays than pass plays. Here's Bryant, able to recover, able to stay upright, and they're going to mark him out of bounds. Not a big gain on the completion, just 6. Cody Sensabaugh was out there in coverage as the Titans try and fill the shoes of Jason McCourty, their best corner, out on the sideline.
Yeah, that's a tough duty right there. Cody Sensabaugh now, you know, him holding up. They've thrown a lot of quick passes out there to Dez Bryant. You just, you know, with the one-on-one looks that they're getting, at what point does the Cowboys take a shot to 88 up the field?
A lot of blitzing from Tennessee. Cowboys pick it up. Romo to the end zone. A lot of contact. Wow. No flag.
Yeah, I was shocked. The official was right on top of it, Joe, right in the end zone. There was definite contact down the field right there, the push. And they're viewing that as incidental contact. You know, Dez is fighting for the ball, trying to play in. Sensabaugh, he's leaning on him. Didn't look as bad on the replay as it did live.
Now 3rd down. Had Witten for a moment. Pass is caught for a 1st down. And a big completion to Des Bryant. And one of the better throws Romo's made all day.
Well, the Titans run a twist up front with Sammy Hill and Derek Morgan, and because of that, they allow Romo then to buy some time by getting out of the pocket and keeping this play alive. You see the time that's required for Des Bryant to get down the field and then open himself up. Tennessee was pretty disciplined up front. That time they just lost contain on Romo.
8 catches, 95 yards for Des Bryant. That one 18 yards on 3rd and 14. See if they go back to the ground. Instead, a short throw. Williams out on the edge to the 3-yard line.
That's a good job there, just getting the ball into Williams' hands. Sensabaugh, he's got a little action his way here on the last few plays, and he waited on Williams to get to him to then try to make the tackle. When you see that receiver, you got to go attack it. It's hard one-on-one to be able to make a play with before they pick up significant yardage.
2nd down and 2.
This is where Des Bryant is so dangerous. A lot of times they like to throw the back shoulder fade or the comeback to the front pylon.
Pass is incomplete for Bryant. Exactly what you were talking about. Sensabaugh in coverage. Now it's 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, you see that so many times with Dallas when they get down into this part of the field. Des Bryant is so effective using his body and being able to come back with body control and make the tough catch. This time they fail to connect.
Cowboys can get a 1st down without getting a touchdown. 12th play of the drive here, and it's 3rd down and 2.
They'll just come back and hand it off to Murray.
Pass is caught for the touchdown. Bryant on the other side. Working on Bleedy Ray Wilson. And the crowd and the Titans were looking for a flag on a push-off.
Well, they run the exact same route to the other side, and they could have certainly called it. There was contact by both guys, Bleedy Ray Wilson as well as Des Bryant, but at the end you saw Des Bryant's arms get extended, and they'll call things for less than that.
Who knows better than you? You ever throw to a guy wearing 88 that extended his hands?
We'll put that rule in for old Urban.
A touchdown of 3 yards, and the pass to Des Bryant as the Cowboys answer the Delanie Walker touchdown and lead again by 13. Everybody was picking on the Dallas Cowboys after week 1. Picking on Romo, picking on the defense, play selection. They've had a good day today here in Nashville, leading again by 13 in a big answer to the touchdown put up by Delanie Walker on that long drive. It ended with a touchdown pass to Bryant. Here's a return from Jackie Battle. Big hit out there. Oh. And one of the players, Joseph Randall, comes staggering out of there, and he's not the only one having a tough time getting up. That's Leon Washington. And there it is, right at the 20.
That's one of the reasons there's been talk about taking this play out of the game. Talking about guys getting up ahead of speed and running 40 yards downfield, and those kinds of collisions, those are the types of injuries that you see. This is a big-time collision between these two guys, and I know that they'd like to see that taken out of the game.
So Randall, who's been the main guy to spell DeMarco Murray, is getting checked out on the sideline, and they'll do the same with Leon Washington on the Tennessee side. Starting at the 25, down by 13. Pass is caught. Walker again. He loses the ball, but basically throws it into the waiting arms of Justin Hunter.
Yeah, I saw as he was trying to get extra yardage, he was sure loose with the football even before it came out. Right there. Easy to get the ball knocked out when you've got the ball away from your body like that. Titans fortunate that Hunter was there to recover that loose ball.
Now J.J. Wilcox is down. It was Sterling Moore that knocked it out. And it was Wilcox going for the loose ball that can't get up. They have Jeff Heath as a backup safety. They have C.J. Spillman, who's dealt with a groin injury this week. And he got that right shoulder, neck, and head area trapped. We got helmet to helmet hit by Devon Coleman. With 1:45 left in the third quarter, they check on Wilcox. We go to Kurt Menefee with a game break.
All right, New Orleans coming back against Cleveland. Jimmy Graham, his second touchdown of the game. This one from the yard out. From Drew Brees, of course. It's 17-16 right now in New Orleans. Coming back after being down. Back to you, Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt. So New Orleans, after that last second loss of a lead and then an overtime loss last week to Atlanta, trying to win on the road. As they've come back from their deficit to lead by 1, and now Wilcox is up. They ruled Delaney Walker with a catch and a fumble. If you have Delaney Walker in your fantasy team, he gets a 6-yard reception plus a fumble.
Do you have Delaney Walker?
Okay. Ed Svita, our statistician, must, because that was off his board, not mine. Our producer Richie Zients has him. He's had a big day. Delaney Walker. Touchdown. And over 100 yards receiving and 107. Pass caught. There he is again. And he is wrapped up about half a yard shy of a first down by Brandon Carr.
There's a good tackle there by Brandon Carr, because there was some room for Delaney Walker had Carr not have been able to get him to the ground. But man, what a difference we've seen in Jake Locker in this offense from the first half. When they've had the ball, they've been very efficient here in this second half.
Jeff Heath has come into the lineup to replace Wilcox as McCluster picks up the first down to midfield, and we're under a minute to go in the third quarter.
Well, one of the things we haven't seen much of is, I know last year when Wisenhunt was with the San Diego Chargers, they were able to get some matchups with their backs on Cowboys linebackers. They thought they might be able to take advantage of some of those looks again here this afternoon, but that hasn't been the case. Delaney Walker's been the guy who's pretty much been working the middle.
He's got Church on him here. Walker does. This one downfield and incomplete for Justin Hunter. Carr in coverage, and Hunter had a shot at it, couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, that's the type of play that they have talked about Justin Hunter being very good at being able to bring in. They actually compared him to a former Dallas Cowboy, Alvin Harper, in being able to go up and make a play, but a ball that was thrown very well by Jake Locker. He's just unable to bring it in.
What is this? 64? 64. Go rock it, go rock it. Rock it. Blue 80. Booty up.
Second down and 10. Locker to run. And the former baseball prospect picks up 8, and that's how the third quarter will come to a close here in Nashville. So 1 quarter to go. Titans trying to win their home opener and go to 2-0 under first-year head coach Ken Wisenhunt. Cowboys trying to even it up at 1-1. Off we go to the fourth. Back after this from your local Fox station. Fourth quarter now. Jason Garrett, who is playing at the end of his contract, and jury is out as to whether he will get a new deal. A lot riding on this season. Ken Wisenhunt is getting started here in Tennessee. Third down and 2.
Now you wonder if this is 4-down territory for Ken Wisenhunt. They've only converted 1 third down. This is a big one for Tennessee.
Locker hangs in, finds the young receiver Hunter, and Justin Hunter's got a first down as he picks up 3.
I guess we won't know, but You pick up the first down there on third. It's the difference between punting if you're not going to go for it on fourth down, or get another set of downs with a chance to come away with some points. But this offense, I've been impressed with what I've seen of them through that third quarter and now on this drive.
They got up off the deck after a bad first half. This is tipped, and Rolando McClain's got it. They're letting this play go, and now one of the officials comes in and says incomplete, with Walt Coleman, the referee, letting the play go. Rolando McClain almost came up with a pick, and let's see if he cradles it against his body. He's got it so far. That's a pick.
Yeah, it looked like an interception to me as well, Joe. I thought it was, even in real time, and they're going to try to get this ball snapped, and
this can be reversed to an interception, no advancement, and I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to get the football right here.
Yeah, they won't get the benefit of the return, but they'll take a look at this, and by all indications, it's an interception, and the Cowboys will get the ball right there.
Well, at no point did we see the ball hit the ground.
Really on the field.
That ball was tipped into the air by Henry Melton. And somehow Rolando McClain, who was traded to the Cowboys, who is making an impact, came away with what looks like an interception. We'll get the call when we come back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Domino's. Oh, yes, we did. By DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
We'll get the call from Walt Coleman. Jason Garrett was hot.
After reviewing the play, the defender got his hand under the ball. It is an interception. The Dallas ball, first and 10 on the 32-yard line.
The reason Jason Garrett was hot was because it takes a touchdown away. Rolando McClain had it, Troy, and got up. He was it seemed a little unsure, but once he took it back, he was unimpeded to the end zone.
Yeah, and what Jason Garrett's upset about also, Joe, is the fact that it was ruled an incompletion on the field. And if you're in doubt as an official, let the play go. You can always come back and rule that the ball had hit the ground and it's incomplete. But if they had let him play and then try to clean it up afterwards, it's a touchdown, Dallas.
Reset the clock to 14:23, please. 14:23.
So instead of a quick defensive score by Rolando McClain, and give this guy credit, I mean, he's trying to do the right thing. He spent last year out. He retired twice. The Cowboys, once they lost Sean Lee, were looking for anybody, and they make the trade to get him, and he's been outstanding through 2 weeks.
He's clearly got ability. I mean, he was the 8th overall pick in 2010 by the Raiders, and that doesn't happen without having some real skills.
Out of Alabama, by the way. Here's a toss to Dunbar. And Dunbar is out to the 35-yard line. A gain of 3.
You look at this game right now, Cowboys up 13 points, and still a lot of time clearly in this fourth quarter, but the way Dallas has run the football, they can take this clock down and take time off on this possession. So this becomes big for Tennessee in being able to make a stop and get the ball back to their offense.
Cowboys are at 6 yards per carry in this game. Win a lot of games doing that. Here's Dunbar. He's tripped up back to the line of scrimmage, and while they showed the replay here at LP Field, there was a big roar because the Dallas Cowboy fans are all over the seats here in Nashville, and all the controversy with last week, all the 49er fans that were in attendance in Arlington at AT&T Stadium. Cowboy fans showing they travel well also.
A lot of Cowboy fans and a whole lot of country music fans.
Yeah. That's universal. 3rd and 7. Titans need a stop. Beasley is there for Dallas and a big first down. To keep the ball, keep the chains moving as Cole Beasley has his first of the day.
I've talked about it before. I really like Cole Beasley and the ability that he has. I mean, you can talk about Des Bryant, Jason Witten, those guys, and they're all important players to your offense. But when you can bring in a guy like Cole Beasley as your third, fourth receiver, inside guy who's so quick and creates separation from a defender, you know, to me, those are the matchups that create problems for a defense and really allow your offense to execute at an entirely different level.
On first down, handoff to Murray. Big hole right side. You know, with all the talk about offense and the rules favoring the offense in the passing game, and you're going to now worry about all these defensive holds in the secondary and pass interference, every advantage seemingly to teams throwing the football. You look at what Seattle's been able to do running the football. You see what happened in week 1 across the NFL with teams that could run. And it's a different looking Cowboy team here today because they can hand it off and pick up yards.
Well, I think Seattle, you know, everybody wants to follow the team that's leading, and they're old school, and it's been a pretty good formula for a lot of years to win a lot of games in this league.
Flag is down on the play, and so is DeMarco Murray. It looks like just short of first down yardage, but it looks like a defensive offside, which would be a first down.
5-yard penalty, first down.
So it is a first down for Dallas, and we go to Kurt Menefee for the game break.
Well, the Cleveland Browns have regained the lead against New Orleans. This is Terrence West, third-round pick out of Towson, getting his first NFL touchdown and doing a little dance to celebrate it. 23-17, start of the fourth quarter. Browns trying to pull the upset. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Cleveland lost last week, trying to even their record and send the Saints to 0-2.
Yeah, I think the Saints are, I think they're a really good football team too. You know, a tough game last week, and they're getting all that they want out of Cleveland today.
Dunbar and the tailback gets it on the toss. He is a small back. Gets shoved out of bounds by Bernard Pollard. Lance Dunbar, they list at 5'8", 195. And they will mark him just shy of the 40, a pickup of 3. Cowboys have led throughout.
You know, Joe, you talk about the rushing of the Cowboys. I think there is starting to be another shift to the running game. Last week, 8 100-yard rushers. The year before, in week 1, just 3. I think teams realize that needs to be an important element of the game.
There's Dunbar left side to bring up a third and medium for Tony Romo and Scott Linehan and that Dallas offense.
Yeah, I think that this third down here is really the key for Tennessee. If they're going to have any chance to get back in this game, they've got to be able to make a stop. And if the Cowboys don't get any yardage here, I would imagine that they'll punt. If they come up short, but it's short fourth down opportunity, they may in fact go for it. But this right here, because now you're starting to work against the clock.
They're right on the edge of field goal range right now for Bailey. Be 55 yards from here. Blitz. Pass is caught. And the lunge for the first down by Des Bryant. And a big pickup and a good throw from Tony Romo. And the power catch from Des Bryant.
Yeah, well, he's so good with the ball in his hands and trying to keep them from picking this up. They've been, I don't know what the numbers say right now, but pretty good here on third down. And when you go back and look at the difference in this game, third down's been a big part of it. The job that Dallas has done and some of the struggles that, especially in the first half, that we saw from Tennessee.
Dallas 7 for 12 on third down. Tennessee 2 for 9. And a 100-yard day on 10 catches for Bryant. Now back to the ground. Covering up the football is DeMarco Murray. And the real good teams are the teams, and you had it with Emmitt Smith, that when you're up late, you can run the clock down because they know you're going to run and they still can't stop it.
That's pretty impressive right there when you look at the time of possession and the discrepancy between the two teams, and just a complete reversal for Tennessee, the way they controlled the clock at Kansas City, and they've been dominated in that department in this game.
Romo rolls out to his right, trying to beat a blitz. He finds Witten. Witten is going to take it to the 30, stay in bounds as Pollard is there for the stop. But Des Bryant will keep a training staff busy during the course of a game. They got 2 guys over there rubbing his calves. Last week they were trying to work out cramps in his forearms, and he's already been inside to get his shoulder checked in this game.
Well, one of the real worries with Des is he's so competitive that he will not go to the ground. Now, the one, he's fighting for the first down, but even, early in games, he takes a lot of punishment as a wide receiver.
3rd down and 8. Cowboys are inside field goal range for Bailey. Pass is off the hands of Murray, incomplete. And that was another first down staring the Cowboys in the face. Instead, it's 4th down, and Bailey will try to go 4 for 4 on the day.
Well, yeah, Bailey comes out, and now, even if Dallas is able to convert here, it's still a 2-possession game. So for Tennessee to maybe be able to make a stop there, that's big. Offensively, they're going to have to create some big plays to get back in it.
48-yard try. And Bailey just making it look easy. Swinging his right leg like he's hanging out in the park. He's hit from 48, 44, 51, 48. And the lead is 16 again for Dallas. What a moment it was last night at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, home of the Cowboys. UCLA and Texas. Heisman hopeful quarterback Brett Hundley was injured his left elbow, so coming off the bench, sophomore Jerry Neuheisel came in, played great, and threw the game-winning touchdown pass. His father and former UCLA head coach Rick Neuheisel watching his son on television deliver a win for the Bruins. I know that Rick's a good friend of yours, and what a moment that must have been for that family.
Yeah, that's personal with me. Rick Neuheisel was my quarterback coach 2 of my 3 years there at UCLA, and obviously an outstanding football coach. And for Jerry Neuheisel to come off the bench, I thought he showed great poise. When he got in the game. That's hard for a young guy to come in that situation on the road and against a pretty good football team, and to then have the winning touchdown pass. I'm real proud of him and real happy for, of course, my UCLA Bruins.
You didn't used to claim him that much.
Yeah, I did.
I know you did. Here's Washington trying to deliver a jolt. He can only get to the 20. Tyler Patman on the tackle for Dallas. So here comes Jake Locker. His team down 16 with 8:10 to go.
Today's game is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving.
Tennessee has to get after it here. 8:10 left. Today for Jake Locker, Sean Green. Delaney Walker's had his first 100-yard day, but it's not enough. As Locker throws, he's got a man, and taking a knee is Delaney Walker. Obviously, coming in, their idea was to work the tight ends against this Dallas defense. Walker's had a big day, but the Titans trail by 16 with under 8 to go. 2nd down and 1. Pass is caught by Delaney Walker, and nobody can cover him. Wilcox is back in the game, and the 2 safeties, Wilcox and Church, have not been good enough to handle number 82.
No, he's, like you talked about a little bit earlier, kind of lost in San Francisco. 60 receptions last year, had never had 30 receptions in a year. He's off to another good start this season.
Tied his career high with 10 catches in the game. Here's a good one. Pass caught by Hunter. And Justin Hunter, 6'4", 203 pounds from Tennessee, is good for 23 yards.
And Barry Church, you see this square in, it's a nice route. Barry Church gets enough of him right there to at least slow him down to where they're able to make a play.
Titans need a quick strike, going for it down the right side, and the pass out of bounds in the direction of Nate Washington, who was looking for a flag from the field judge, doesn't get it.
Well, Dallas defensively, knowing the situation, they're trying to play coverage and force him to come underneath. They do on the first down to Delaney Walker, and then they started hitting the intermediate throws, and they've gotten the ball down here very quickly without taking much time off this clock.
Now 2nd down and 10.
Load it! Good lady! Good.
Locker got a man. Hagan down inside the 10, and a flag flies at the end of it. Hagan got a hit up high, and Derek slow to get up. 25 yards from Jake Locker.
Well, you see the release there. It's an excellent job of getting up the field by Derek Hagan, and the Cowboys, they go to a single high safety. They had been playing a little bit of the Tampa Bay cover 2. That's such a big part of that Tampa defense over the years, where Rod Marinelli was, and this time they single up, they hit the seam, and you can see the collision there at the end of that play with the flag.
There's no foul for a defensive player. He was running with the ball. First down.
So it's 1st and goal from the 6. They pick up the flag as Hagan gets looked at along the sideline. The question was he a defenseless player? He made the catch, took a couple of steps, then got the hit up high. So no flag. 1st and goal from the 6 as the Titans have gone down the field in a blink.
Yeah, they sure have. They've made this look pretty easy. You see the amount of time. They haven't even had the ball a minute and a half yet.
Locker from the 6. Backing up, stepping up, and incomplete. Coverage from Carr with Justin Hunter the intended target. As Locker let go of a fastball that got through everybody, and Kendall Wright gets up holding his left side.
Well, that's good protection up front by this offensive line. Jake Locker had protection, but just nowhere to go with the football. Dallas defensively locked onto the receivers. They did a nice job.
Wright so far in this game, 3 catches, 31 yards. Guy who caught 100 passes a year ago. 2nd and goal. Locker throws behind Delanie Walker. And that time Delanie Walker had a lot of attention from the Dallas defense.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot there for Jake Locker to try to fit the ball in, and 2 Cowboys, they're in coverage, and here's the end of that play. Bruce Carter, he was able to come in, and he did a nice job with a free rush, not getting called with a penalty and doing it the way that they're asked to do it these days.
Been knocked down 5 times, hit 11. 1 sack, now 3rd and goal. Obviously 2 cracks at it, you would think, from Tennessee, if they don't get it here. Locker pulls it back. The pass is caught for the touchdown. Nate Washington. Cowboys saying that ball was juggled going to the ground. Both Carr and Church will take another look.
Well, Carr never gets turned around to even locate the ball. Washington goes up. And it looks like it may have touched the ground coming down. We'll see if this is a better look. Carr's able to get his arm in there.
It's that first look, and it's at that moment that it looks like the ball comes out. Let's take another look. But this is close. If it's incomplete, remember it's 4th down. Right there. Yep. That ball's out. That should not be a touchdown. It's a scoring play, so it's automatically reviewed. And that ball was on the ground and then smothered by the body of Nate Washington.
The previous
Cowboy players saw it.
Is under review.
Both Carr and Church. Here's the best look at it, as Carr's left hand knocked it out. We'll get the call when we come back. Is it a touchdown or is it 4th down? We'll find out. While they review the scoring play, we'll welcome you inside the booth. That was a quick trip down the field, but if this is overturned, which we think it will be, it's a big 4th down coming up.
Well, real big. I mean, Tennessee was able to get right down the field, as you said, without having to use much time at all, and then it bogged down, here on those first 3 plays. By all indications, this is incomplete. It's going to come down to 4th down, but even if they get the touchdown, a lot of things have to happen right now with 2-point conversions and everything else, but it looks like it's going to come down here to 4th down.
It was actually the left hand of Carr right there that got on top of the ball and knocked it away. And we'll get the call from Walt Coleman. If it's not a touchdown, it's 4th down.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground as the receiver was going to the ground. It's an incomplete pass for the 4th down at the 6-yard line.
So any hope the Titans now have to come back in this game will ride on this 4th and goal.
Yeah, you know, they're here on the 6-yard line. What a lot of times you like to do, especially with a guy like Jake Locker, is move the pocket. If you move the pocket, you buy some time. He has been under a little duress, and it kind of allows these receivers to work a little bit. The problem is you cut the field in half if you do that.
4 men on the rush. Back of the end zone. Incomplete. Delanie Walker caught it but out of bounds. And the Titans will turn it over on downs. What an effort, but could not get the feet down.
Just a little late on the throw, which allows then Delanie Walker to get too close to the sideline. He's trying to go up and make a play.
Boy, he has had a game. He hits out of bounds clearly, and it's a turnover on downs. Coverage by Wilcox in the back of the end zone, but Delanie Walker showed these Titan fans what he can do. What a huge day, and almost a big catch on that leap in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, just high enough that he just wasn't able to make the catch and then get his feet down. A great job just being able to make the reception.
Here's DeMarco Murray trying to add to a 141-yard day. The rest of this weekend here in week 2 around the NFL. Good action tonight. Before that, it's the Rams and Bucks, Seahawks and Chargers. Tomorrow night, on Monday night, Philadelphia and Indianapolis, and that game tonight as they open up officially Levi's Stadium with the Bears, a banged up Chicago Bears team playing against the 1-0 San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. 2nd and 6. And a great effort there by DeMarco Murray. He gets about 3.5. Let's go to Kurt with a game break.
Well, maybe everybody who thought the offseason losses on offense for Carolina were too much for them, you might want to hold on a second. Jonathan Stewart fights his way in from 2 yards out. They had a 2-point conversion. Carolina up 21-7 on Detroit, looking to go to 2-0 in the 4th quarter. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
First it was Derek Anderson. Now it's Cam Newton at the controls for Carolina. Detroit with that impressive win on Monday night at home against the Giants, but not good on the road today. And you look at the leaders for Dallas. There's the guy along with those big bodies up front. Credit them all. Doug Freese, Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, Ronald Leary, and Tyron Smith.
Well, this game offensively for Dallas just reminds me a lot of the games that I was a part of when I played for the Cowboys as far as how they did it. They did it with a power running game. You see Dez Bryant over 100 yards receiving. Tony Romo bounces back from last week's game. Very efficient. You know, there's a lot to build on here for the Dallas Cowboys, but the early reports, boy, this team is going to be capable of running the football. It's just a matter of being able to stick with it, which is up to the coaches to do.
Murray trying to cut back. Now in a foot race. DeMarco Murray is going to get a first down and slide to keep the clock running. He's doing everything right now after an early fumble.
Yeah, that's the only blemish that he's had, and you know, he shows that he understands the situation once he gets over towards the sideline and staying in bounds and keeping the clock running. But to be able to traverse the field like that and still get to the outside, that's a pretty impressive run right there.
And there's Dez Bryant, more of what he does, not mailing it in a 16-point game, getting a block to really help get that first down for DeMarco Murray. The Dallas Cowboys now, it's amazing the difference a week can make. I mean, everybody, as I said, was picking on them after week 1. They're on their way, it would seem, to a win today. They're at St. Louis. St. Louis down to their third string quarterback in Austin Davis, at least at the moment it appears. Then at home against New Orleans and Houston before they go to Seattle, and at home against the Giants, and all of a sudden that schedule doesn't look as daunting as it did for the Dallas Cowboys in what should be a watered down NFC East. We'll see Philly and Washington next week. Philadelphia with an impressive win last week over Jacksonville after going down 17-0 and winning 34-17. Let's recap this one. Coming up on 5 minutes left. It's really been all Dallas. DeMarco Murray is able to force his way in for his second touchdown of the season. Delaney Walker, a 61-yarder, the big highlight for the Tennessee Titans. A short 3-yard touchdown throw to Des Bryant, who has a 100-yard day, and a near touchdown was overturned as that ball got loose from the arms of Nate Washington moments ago.
I think you got to give the defense for the Cowboys some credit too. They had the one touchdown. Delaney Walker fell to make a tackle. It was really the only big play.
And listen to that Cowboys chant as Murray gets another first down, and that'll put a smile on the face of Jerry Jones after hearing all week about all the 49er fans.
Well, Jerry's looking at this crowd, looking at all them jerseys and thinking that maybe some of them are a little dated. They may need to buy a few more.
Yeah. Saw an Aikman jersey down there. That thing is old. Played some music here in the stadium to drown out a "Let's Go Cowboys" chant. Penalty flag on the play. As DeMarco Murray, they're still working Murray. I mean, this might be a time to maybe get him out of there and let Dunbar carry it a couple times.
78 did not report as an eligible receiver. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I mean, for a guy like DeMarco Murray, Troy, that's had a tough time going an entire season without an injury. In fact, he's never done it. I think they leave well enough alone and let that be his day here in week 2.
You know, it looks like they might have heard you as he's going over the sidelines. But yeah, career high 29 rushes for him and 167 yards, and just an excellent job. I mean, he had the fumble. They've got to clean that up. He does. But thought he ran the ball exceptionally well last week, and he was tough to bring down again in this game.
Game break on deck as Dunbar delays and has a nice pickup on 1st and 15. Here's Joel Klatt.
All right, Joe, we go out to Cleveland. Mark Ingram, only 1 TD all of last season. This is already his 3rd of this young season. Saints up by 1, trying to break a 4-game losing streak away from the Dome. Back to Tennessee. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
And I know, Troy, I'm reading your mind about Ingram, a back that you've always loved, and just waiting for him to get a legitimate every game chance with the Saints.
Yeah, he has a big game and then nothing really happens, and I do think he's an exceptional player. I know they really like him there in New Orleans.
So he's got 3 touchdowns already. A little slip by Dunbar. 3rd down coming up, under 3 to go.
You look at the schedule as we did for the Cowboys, Joe, and you know they need to get as many wins as they can here early, because the end of their season, and obviously we're just finishing up week 2. It's tough. A lot of road games. It's going to be hard for them. And then for Tennessee, where do they go from here? They've got a tough couple road games now coming up, with having to travel to Cincinnati and then back again to Indianapolis, a couple playoff teams from a year ago. So it doesn't get any easier for them.
3rd down and 5. Hand off to Dunbar, and there's the final 1st down of the day. And what a day it's been. Timeout taken by Tennessee, and that's their final timeout. Now Dunbar's having his fun. And the Cowboys have run the ball for over 200 yards here today. There's Tennessee's upcoming schedule that Troy talked about. On the road, back-to-back weeks, at home against Cleveland and Jacksonville, then at the Redskins on October 19th.
You know, it is interesting, though, each year. I mean, that, you know, when do you really start to get a good feel for what a team is, you know? And Dallas, you know, didn't look particularly good last week. They come back. Anytime you can win on the road, it's good. Tennessee, a great win for them on the road. A new coaching staff, and then to come home today and not have as good a showing. But you can look at that all around the league, and it takes several weeks before teams really begin to start separating themselves and tell us what they're about.
Dunbar left side. We are going to be at the 2-minute warning. Tennessee out of timeouts. A 100-yard day for number 88. A good showing for the Cowboys on the road, leading by 16 with 2 to go. Welcome me back to Nashville. Big day for that man, DeMarco Murray. 167 yards. A lot of work. 29 carries, averaged just under 6 yards a carry. Second down and 5. Cowboys running out the clock. Here's Dunbar. Wrapped up by Wesley Woodyard. We are with our producer, Richie Zients, our director, Rich Russo. Colby Bourgeois is our technical director. Jake Jolivet down in the truck. Rich Gross, Alex Olson, all of our guys. Steve Horn here in the booth. Our spotter is the great Dave Schwalbe. And our technician, Mike Copeland. It's his last game with us on this crew. He'll be the project manager for our golf package. So we'll see you there next June at Chambers Bay in the Seattle-Tacoma area. Play is made in the backfield. Wrapped up is Dunbar, and it was Griffin who got in there and made the play. So for Mike Copeland, thanks for so many great years of great service here on this crew, and off to golf you go, as this play was made by Griffin to bring up 4th down. As of the moment, the Titans, who after week 1 led the NFL in time of possession at 37 minutes 44 seconds. After a dominant performance at Kansas City, they've had it for under 20 minutes today. 18 minutes 26 seconds.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about it earlier, but you know, the big difference there are the third downs, and what a different quarterback he was, and what a different team the Titans were there in that second half. But they just dug themselves too big of a hole in that first half and couldn't get out from underneath it. But I do like what I've seen from Jake Locker overall, and I talked about it to start the ball game. One of the things is he has to stay healthy so he can just get more games under his belt. But he's got some real ability, and I know Ken Whisenhunt is excited about his future and some of the things that he brings to this offense. He'll have better days than the one he had here this afternoon.
Time permitting, we'll get you to the conclusion of New Orleans and Cleveland. Good game. That'll be worth sticking around. The punt is going to end up on the goal line, so out to the 20 with 23 seconds left. We'll have a snap, and that'll be it. Tennessee will be 1-1. The Cowboys will be 1-1. With Dallas heading to St. Louis next week, and Tennessee going to Cincinnati. So far for the season, Troy, for Dallas, 2 games, 346 rushing yards. They're averaging over 5 yards per carry. And for Jason Garrett saying we were doing it with smoke and mirrors on our offensive line in the past. Now we can really block guys. He's right. They're good. Up front, good, young, and effective. McCluster, and that's the end of the day here in Tennessee. Unless Tennessee wants to snap it one more time. Yes, they do. Maybe. Maybe not. And it's a false start. We'll have a runoff, and that's it. New Orleans and Cleveland.
62 of the offense with the clock running inside a minute. The 10-second runoff. The game is over.